Hello everyone, the Skilled Roy here, back with another Legends Runeterra video, and today I'm here with the Gnar followers. They all look super cool. I'm really excited to sort of review them. Now I know everything's all Freljord themed still, but I'm just doing this because Gnar is almost certainly going to be still a Freljord champion, like dual region of course. But anyways, let's go ahead and jump into the cards. So first up, let's talk about Bitsy Lizard. This is a 2-mana 1/2 with round end. If you've damaged the enemy nexus this round, transform me into a Lava Lizard. And of course, the Lava Lizard is a 2-mana 3/4. So let's talk about this real quick. So generally speaking, this is a 2-mana card that essentially has a 1-mana body unless you activate its condition, in which case it becomes a 3-mana body. Now, let's be completely transparent here. The 3-mana body you get of a 3/4 isn't actually really worth 3 mana. While yes, there's obviously cards that are 3-mana 3/4s that do see some level of play, the vanilla stats with no ability I think is a little underperforming here. So not only do I have to meet a condition, the opponent can interact with it, but after all of that I only get a 3/4. Now this sort of leads to me to believe there has to be further transformation synergy cards, or cards that get benefits based on how many transformations you make, because while this card is fine, it's nothing super exciting, it plays a really basic role. In order to get really good value out of this, to really succeed and become a powerful card, it's going to need to have some sort of bonus with transforming. We see later there's a card that is going to give us some small bonuses for transforming, but I'm talking we need large scale bonuses that really dramatically change things, or at least something to work towards, like perhaps a level up condition. But we're going to have to see that in the future. As of right now, Bitsy Lizard is pretty standard. It's a pretty whatever early game drop. You play your 1-drop on turn 1, you get the open attack on turn 2, you play Bitsy Lizard, you're vibing, right? Like that's sort of the game plan there. Yeah, it seems fine if there's transformation payoffs. Without it, it seems just okay. And here is one of those transformation payoffs. We got Chiefnakotak, the 3-mana 3/3. When an ally transforms, fully heal it and grant it +1/+1. So obviously this is really going to be beneficial for units that transform multiple times, and I don't believe we have too many, or if any at all, of that right now. So I believe this is probably going to be best suited for Gnar, who's infamous for being able to shift between Form A and Form B, Mega and normal Gnar. So overall, seems like a pretty solid card. As a 3-mana 3/3, it's at least going to be pretty okay. I think I might have preferred a slightly more defensive stat line on this sort of body, like maybe a 3-mana 2/4 with this sort of ability would have been much better. But overall, it's not too bad. I don't really see myself putting into combat too much because I don't want to risk losing it. And with no real ways to dictate blockers in Bandle City right now, I don't really see this card being able to commit its stats anywhere. So really, you're sort of paying that 3 mana for like what is essentially a glorified landmark. And honestly, in that situation, it's fine. Like, it really depends on how valuable these transformation effects are. We saw a couple of them already with Uyghur's cards, and we now are seeing some now with Gnar's, but you're really gonna have to transform multiple times to make this really powerful. I'd say probably 2 transformations makes Chief worth it, and if you can do that, that seems pretty good. But we'll have to see for sure, because obviously one big issue here is that Bitsy Lizard is going to come down the turn before Chief, so you really can't activate it reliably, so you're going to look for the other cards instead for that sort of thing. But we'll see the other 2 that are coming up next that are actually going to be on the curve as well, so we'll see where those are going to be going. Alright, next up is the Spotted Toad, the 5-mana 4/5. Round end, if you damage enemy nexus this round, transform into a Giga Gromp, which of course I'm really excited to see. Let's go ahead and take a look. 5-mana 6/7 Giga Gromp. When I transform, deal 1 to all enemies. Wow, that is a very, very splashy card. Now this is going to be great on the on your defensive turns, playing Spotted Toad after you've dealt damage through some sort of ping or some sort of effect that's already dealt damage to them, and then immediately on your turn start, you immediately flip over Giga Gromp. He immediately does 1 damage to their enemies, hopefully breaks down their defenses enough, and you get a huge attack in with all your board units, especially with this 5-mana 6/7. That is a +2/+2 plus upside from Spotted Toad. That is pretty insane. Now, I know a lot of people probably aren't going to be super thrilled for this type of one. People sort of look at this card and they're like, ah, it's way too slow. And you know what? In most scenarios, I do think it is pretty slow. However, I do think that the very sheer potential upside of this hitting 5-mana 6/7 off of a relatively easy condition, and a condition that is relatively hard to disrupt because of things like Warning Shot, because of just general ping damage that exists in the game, and just in general, you have to kill Spotted Toad, and it's a 5-mana 4/5, like, I think you're going to be pretty happy about this card in most scenarios. And even if they do something like recalling it or something similar to that, you're playing a 5-mana 6/7, you don't mind. You're okay in most scenarios. So I think in general, Spotted Toad is probably fairly weak, but I think any amount of transformation synergy is going to push this card over the edge because it's actually quite good in certain situations. In most situations, though, it's probably going to be pretty bad. So it's kind of one of the things like maybe you run 2 of, maybe you run 1 of, but we'll have to see what transformation payoffs there are. But this card is right on the fringe of it. All right, last but certainly not least is Chiefnakotak, the 4-mana 4/3. If you've damaged the enemy next to this round, transform me into a Pterodactyl, which, you know, great pun, by the way. I'll give you guys that one. But he is a 4-mana 6/5 with round start, deal 1 to the enemy nexus, and he has impact. Card is insane. This card is definitely the one where I'm just like, whoa, really? Like, this card can just pop off like no one's business. First of all, a 4-mana 4/3 is somewhat disruptible. You will be able to get answered by things like get excited, you'll be answered by thermal beams, like 3 damage is not trivial to remove, but it is relatively easy to remove. However, when it levels up into a 6/5, that is almost unkillable. Like we're getting to a sort of position of range here where the opponent is going to have to put a lot more resources than is the mana cost of 4 mana to really kill the Pterodactyl, and that's really great for us. Not to mention, when it transforms, it's immediately getting that next round start effect, and that next round start effect is immediately feeding into all of your other transformation cards. Pterodactyl is crazy because those constant pings are going to keep activating all your Udyr cards, all of your new transformation cards here, and probably most likely Gnar, considering how many of these cards are based around probably a singular archetype. Honestly, my initial thoughts here is that Pterodactyl is easily the best card in this group and could even see play on its own because of how powerful the card really is. The only real issue here is there's a small deck building constraint of making sure you can consistently activate Chiefnakotak. It's not hard in Bandle City because you have impact and you can just suicide your units in, but you're going to want to look for something that's efficient as well as not hurting your own resources so that you get a 4-mana 6/5 with impact with round start powerful effect. With little to no cost. That's your ideal, and I think this one is easily the sort of central role player for the deck, and it can get really spooky, especially in multiples. I don't even know what you do if you start facing down 2 of these, because if you start facing down 2 of these, that means between each of your attacking turns, you're getting hit for 4 damage, and that's just like, whew, God, that seems pretty terrifying, I'm not gonna lie. This card is easily, I think, the most interesting card to me, and I think I'm gonna be running this one for sure in my Gnar Udyr deck, assuming that Gnar is actually based on this effect, which, come on, he probably is. All right, but that's it for me. Tomorrow is most likely Gnar, and then that means there's actually a day between the reveals as well as the actual launch of the expansion, which leads me to believe there's probably going to be a sort of like either roadmap day or a day talking about some of the more interesting changes, or maybe even a full patch with some more balance changes. Please nerf Ari Kennen. Please. Please, I'm begging you, Riot. Anyways, that's it for me. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. I will see you all next time. Peace out.